everyone, welcome back to another video. So today we're going to get back into the Super Famicom stuff. As you see, I've got a few here that I need to sort out. I've gone through them all and written little notes on what needs to be done. But what I am going to do is get one, fix it, and put in Pico CIC. And what this does, this little tiny chip, it replaces the CIC chip on board and makes it a switchless NTSC PAL, and changes the hertz as well, so you can play any game. And so what I have got here is I've got a Japanese game and I've got a Australian game. So what we'll do is there's a couple in here that actually work. I'll find one that works and we'll plug it in, and I'll show you what it does with the Japanese and what it does with the Australian before we do the Pico CIC chip. Right, so I've got this one here. So this one works, just needs a good clean. I'll clean it inside and outside while I'm there. I've got the TV on, so what we'll do is we'll grab the Japanese game first. So this should work fine. It's on. Yep, that's working fine. So it just shows you that this was a working unit. Got sound, picture. What happens when we get a PAL game from Australia? Chuck it in. Absolutely nothing. Of course we won't, because the CIC chip's going, hang on a second, you're not Japanese. But hopefully this thing here is going to fix all that. So let's head to the workbench and let's get stuck in it. So I'm back on the workbench now. So what we do is, we remember, we just flip it over. It's got 6 screws and it uses the those security screws that Nintendo use. So I'll just whip those out now. Right, screws are out, flip it back over, take the top off, like so. She's pretty dirty in there. Definitely give this one a clean inside and out. So what we do next, we just lift out the, I'm not going to be able to get to that, sorry. Undo the screws for the switch and also the screws for this metal plate. Pull this piece out. What we will do is you always just give the power switch a quick flick to make sure there's no more residue power left in there, and then we'll just pull everything out as we need to, like that, and we'll just get stuck into it and remove the power switch, remove the screws holding this metal plate on. So I'll just do that. Those screws are out, so now this metal plate should just lift off like so, exposing all of that. And then what we need to do now is we need to get this piece and just give it a wiggle to pull that out. So we've got them out of the way as well. Right. And so what we need to do with this one, the chip we need to work on is the CIC chip, which is this one here, that little one there. And with the Pico CIC, you actually remove the chip completely and replace it with that, as well as doing a few other things on the board. So what we'll do is I'll remove the board right out of here, because I want to give this whole thing, the whole case and everything, a clean. Just so when we put it all back together, it hasn't got dust, dirt or anything in it, and it just looks a lot better. Right, I've just taken out the screws that were across the back here, so this now should just lift straight out, which it does. The board looks good. That's the main thing. What we will do is we will unplug the power switch just so it's out of the way. Remove that, put it on the side. Here's our main thing that we're going to work on here. Looking down there, it actually looks like it's been recapped. That's probably what's working well. But yeah, see, that's very, very dirty, as you can see. So I'll undo that, take these metal bits out, and we'll clean the top and the bottom. And all I do is I just give them a wash in the sink with warm soapy water, just like dishwash liquid. That brings them up really nice. But what we'll do is we will get stuck into this board first and get onto the CIC chip. Right, I've just zoomed down on the CIC chip, which is that one there. So all I'm going to do is just put some flux on it, and I'm just going to use my hot air gun, my hot air station, just to heat it up and lift it off the board. Easiest way to do it, so I'll just do that. Right, remove that. There's the chip there itself. So that's pretty much rubbish now, because that's just a chip that only lets it play Japanese games. So I'll just clean up that solder with my solder wick, and then we will get the new Pico CIC out and see how that mounts. I've cleaned all that up. Now let's see what we get in this little kit here. These are all from Retro 6. They're really, really cool. Open this up. That's it. So in the kit we get our new Pico CIC, which replaces the CIC chip. Just this little tiny thing here. Pretty small, but does the job. And we also get a new LED as well, because obviously this with this one, the LED changes colors for whatever region it's on. So we'll replace that in the front piece as well. But first we'll get this Pico CIC mounted on the board. So you can see how small this thing is here. We compare it to that, it's just tiny. And also what we've got to do is the little half circle cutout at the top is where these two dots need to go. So this thing needs to be mounted there. So it's pretty fine soldering, but once we sort of get it in place, we'll tack in a corner like so, so that one tacks onto there, that one tacks onto there, that one goes on the second one leg down, this goes on those three legs and those legs there. So I'll get that soldered in place and we'll go on to the next stage. Right, now that is fiddly. It's so small, but I've managed to get them all, and I've done a continuity test as well just to make sure that they are connected from the CIC to the actual board itself, and made sure that none of these are joined up, and they're all working, they're all connecting fine. So I'm happy with that. But yeah, that is quite fiddly actually. So what we'll do is we'll get on to the next stage. Right, the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to go to the PPU. So you've got PPU 1 and PPU 2, and we've got to lift a pin on each one. So the first pin we're going to lift is pin 30 on PPU 2, which is probably the easiest because it's this very corner one here. So what I'll do is I'll just get the soldering iron, put a bit of flux on there, get the soldering iron, heat it up, and just lift it up gently with my sharp tweezers, and just lift the leg up. You just got to be careful you don't snap the leg off, because we do need to put a wire on that leg. Right, so I've lifted that pin 30 there. It's one nice and easy, but PPU 1 a little bit harder. We've got to lift pin 24. So it's pin 30. So when we count down to 24, it's that one there. So it's going to be a little bit trickier. I'll still use my flux though, just to loosen up that solder when I put the soldering iron on it, and then just try and lift that one pin up without disturbing the pins around it. Right, I've managed to get that one up as well. I'll try and bring it a bit closer so you can see. I don't know if you can, but yeah, a little bit tricky that one. Pin 24 and pin 30. So you can see pin 30 is off the board, and pin 24 is off the board as well. So that's our two pins done. Now we just got to add wire to them. Right, what we do now, we get a bit of wire, and we just solder the bit of wire onto the pin 30, that leg that's lifted on the PPU 2, like so. And then what I'm going to do is come across and try, and I'll melt away a bit of this and then solder it onto that leg that's lifted as well, onto pin 24 PPU 1, and then this wire then goes to the Pico CIC. So I'll quickly do that. Right, as you can see, soldered on there. I've just melted the cover there and soldered on there, and then all we need to do is this wire then needs to come across and solder onto that little blob at the bottom there. So I'll just solder that on there. Right, so that's done, soldered onto that point there. Just comes back onto leg 24 and onto leg 30. So that's pretty much all of that part done. Now we'll get on to the next stage. Right, next thing we're going to do is going to work on the front. So we've got to replace the LED with the one that came with the kit. But what I am going to do is remove this front piece. It's really dirty because I need to clean it. And that's easy enough to do, is just by pushing these little tabs in here, like so. And it should just come away like that. And then we've got two more on the back side as well. One's already out. Look at that. There we go. So I can clean that now without going anywhere near this. So the easiest way to get rid of the old LED is actually just snipping it off. If you can get your snippers or your clippers in there, because it's in the way of where our new one needs to go. There you go. So we just snip that off, and our new one will sit in its place there once we sort of work with these wires a little bit. I'll show you where these ones go. Right, so all I've done here is just put some Cat-Feld tape here and just put the LED in place and just leave the wires out like that. And then all we need to do is bend this leg around. This is the earth, and it just gets soldered onto that point there. So I'll just quickly do that now. One thing I have noticed with this ribbon cable, you can see here, it's pretty much corroded to bits. Not looking very good at all. Luckily they just pull out of here as well, and I have got a few spare ones of these, so I'll just go and find one of those and replace it with one that's good. Right, so I've replaced the cable there. So what we do is we need to get, I've cleaned all the cases and everything, so we need to get this piece back, because what we need to do is we need to solder on the leads from the LED. So what we'll do is we'll get that organized now. So the red positive one goes to the right hand side blob there, and the black negative goes to the left hand side. I'll just quickly zoom down on it there. You can see the positive and the negative LED wires are on, and we're pretty much done. Let's put this thing back together and see how we go. Right, so what I've done is I've just put the shield back on. I just tuck the wires and just pull them out of the side there, just tuck them out of the way. So it's pretty much there. I'll put the case on, I'll put the switch in, the eject button, and then put the case back together, and then we'll go and test it. Okay, back in the shed now. Got it all plugged up, ready to go, but first what we'll do is we'll just test it. So how this works with the multicolor LED is it should give us three different colors, and that's the three different modes. You've got NTSC, PAL, and Auto. So when we turn it on, it's got a blue color. I'm not sure what that is. I think the blue color is PAL, but if we hold the reset button for half a second, it should change to red, NTSC, and if we hold it for again, purple, which should be the auto function. So what we'll do now is we'll test it with the two games and we'll see what it does. Okay, now let's try out these games. So we've got the NTSC one, which we know worked in this console before. When we turn it on, it goes purple, and it works fine. There. Just make sure it's got sound. Yep. That's fine. But the test will be whether this one, which says PAL version on it, and this is a known one to not work even when you lift a leg on the CIC chip. Let's see what colour this one comes on as. Purple. It's loading. Okay, it's in black and white, so we'll probably have to cycle through the different colours. There you go, so it's on blue. Ah, look at that. Perfect. That is running fine. So if we cycle through to the red, that then goes back to black and white. It's obviously the wrong hertz. And purple. Even in the purple it stays black and white, but all we need to do is cycle through till we get to PAL, which is obviously blue. And there we go. So it's awesome. A nice switchless little mod that actually makes it a true region free Super Nintendo, Super Famicom. I've got a few more I've got to do here too. So I hope you like that video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. I do videos every week, and we'll see you in the next one.